The growing calls across the nation to defund the police.
To end policing as we know it.
Off the charts violence in New York City. 11 people shot in just 8 hours on
This is
Sunday.
about the police officers who every single day put on that uniform and they run towards danger when we run away from it.
Guns up.
Oh, I'm back. Giddy up.
Guns up, guns up, guns up, guns up, guns up.
I'm not used to having to unmute myself. Dang.
See? Not as easy as you think. Not as easy as you think, is it?
I put myself in your shoes, my friend, and I am better for the journey.
Good.
I'd just like to say that I notified you that in the private chat that you would have to do that because I can't unmute you.
I didn't look at the private chat. I was paying attention to the Wolfpack and the real comments. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. I was focused on Discord and Slack and YouTube and StreamYard, so I must have
You're making shit up about Slack. We don't use Slack anymore. It's only Discord. Only Discord.
Dude, where are you at?
What is going on?
That is not your studio.
No, it is not. And we had cooler plans than this, than me on my iPad with AirPods. But I am at the Relentless Defender apparel headquarters, which is massive, and they are about to in the next soon. We're going to have some new Guns Up Giddy Up shirts available even before April 1st, and then once they have this new machine, they have a really cool machine that they're going to have, one of only 34 in existence in the world, and they'll be able to print our stuff for us like on demand. And we can get back to the business of clothing the wolf pack. So
nice.
I'm excited.
Dude. Nice.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
So I'm here,
big shout out to Relentless Defender.
Yes, thank you guys. And then I'll be the MC for their Relentless Defender Foundation, their nonprofit. They have a big, I don't know the right word, if it's gala or gala. It depends. Gala. And so I will be up in my monkey suit on Saturday. We have one event tomorrow night for like an informal one, and then Saturday night, the formal ball attire, and I will be trying to refrain from too many bad jokes.
Okay. I'm excited for you.
Welcome, everyone, to the Failure to Stop podcast. We are the #1 show where law enforcement meets culture. We've got 4 episodes a week now, if you did not know. Fridays, of course, is the mainstay. It is the flagship. It is the grand poobah. I don't know what other terms you would want to use, but this is the show where we either do breakdowns on cases past or present, or we do news roundups like today. We go out and patrol the internet. That's what we're calling this. We're PTI, baby. Patrol the internet. We go out there and patrol so that you stay safe from all the news, and we just bring it to you and let you know what's going on out in the world, law enforcement related. On Mondays, I hop on the mic and rant about whatever comes to mind. Tuesday nights is night shift, baby. And we talk about all sorts of topics that cops like to talk about on night shift. And then Thursday, Tansey is with you for last call, trying to save that third marriage, baby. Giving you all the pop culture information you need to know to pretend to be normal on the weekends with your civilian friends. So I don't know. Can we do any more than what we do now? I think we're giving our all here, buddy.
I think we are. Only day we have open is Wednesday. But
I don't know what we can do.
Gotta have that day off.
Woo!
I'm serious, man. It's like I feel like in the last 3 weeks now that we've been doing this, the four shows thing. I feel like a real journalist. Like all day long, I'm looking for news articles, looking for things that would excite people and be awesome to hear about. So it's been fun.
Whatever it takes to help the wolf pack out, Boom. Let's go. Well. Any other housekeeping items? Do we have any reviews? We didn't talk about that at all. Do we need to recognize anyone for doing
Yeah, we've got a couple reviews.
Well, here's some big news while you pull up the reviews. We shot up to the #9 spot on Podbean, which is our host site, on most popular for society and culture. So, I mean, man, Wolfpack is doing their job. Every time you guys leave a review, on whether it's on Spotify, whether it's on iTunes, whether it's on Podbean or wherever, that bumps us up in the rankings. So it's pretty cool to be on the top 10 right now.
I love it. Now we need to crack that back into the Apple Podcast top rankings. It's the mountain we must climb, my friend.
Yeah, but I'm having fun doing it.
We need to podcast Sherpas or something to help us climb these mountains, these ranking mountains. Do they have those? Can you hire a podcast Sherpa?
I don't know. I think maybe like our producers are our Sherpas guiding us through. And we have
Really?
Danny.
Are they, though?
Danny that does our social media for us or helps us, guides us through our social media. We actually do our own social media. I think we're the only show on the network that like 100% does our own social media. We just delete things and redo things at her.
Maybe that's the problem.
Maybe we should turn it over to her.
Maybe we should stop doing that. I don't know. Oh my gosh. Well, Tuesday night let's hit these reviews real quick. I almost forgot. Gotta give the Wolfpack their due. I don't want you guys wasting your typing. Elijah, are you alive? Oh, here we go. S. Brent says, soft moan, 5 stars. This show would make my nipples so hard if I hadn't lost them in a tragic bacon frying accident.
Yeah. You never fry bacon in the nude. You always have to be fully clothed. I recommend wearing an apron when you do bacon.
Speaking of nipples, I was groped by the TSA yesterday and law enforcement. This is my law enforcement news. I'm traveling from Detroit to Houston, and I go through what's interesting is I have TSA pre-check, which means I have literally gone out of my way to go meet with the government, get fingerprinted, a background check, everything that they need to do to qualify me for TSA pre-check. I've already done the things, right? And then I go through the metal detector with no metal on me, and it goes off. I'm told that it was a random selection. It's like, oh, okay. Well, I randomly get selected every time I go to the airport, by the way. So I hop over to this next little poof machine, where they spritz you with air and it detects if you're a terrorist. So I go in, then the lady tells me, you're in the wrong line, sir. And I'm like, well, this guy said I had to come over here. She's like, well, you got to go through that one first. I'm like, I waited in that line and I went through that one. And then he told me I had to come over here. So then she has to go ask crack TSA investigator Bob whether or not he actually told me to come over there, which he did. So then I do the arms up and it sprays all the air. And they sent me to a tertiary spot to get patted down. And the guy says, I have to check your left chest, which what he meant by that was my nipple, and your right ankle. Those were the hot spots on the spritzer. That apparently.
Oh, you were wearing a nipple ring, weren't you? You were wearing a nipple ring, you dirty dog.
No, come on, man. I always take that out. They say you can't walk through with metal, so I always put those in the carry-on first.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, thankfully they thwarted. I put on my Instagram story yesterday, the TSA hunts the evil you pretend doesn't exist. These guys. I'm so sick of the TSA, dude. And if you work for the TSA, just know that I think your job is a complete and utter joke. And I have friends of mine that have worked for the TSA that literally have stopped talking to me because of my stance in the TSA. They're that immature about someone having a different opinion. But anyway, all right, next review. Simpson BJ. That sounds interesting. Ooh. 5 stars. This podcast is so good. It gave me an erection that lasted more than 4 hours. My doctor couldn't help.
Yep.
Can't stop, won't stop, baby.
Your doctor can't help with that. With the things that we do to you, the things that we do for you. No doctor can change that or fix it.
You're beyond repair, my friend. Thank you. Last review. Celtic Vengeance says customer service 5 stars. I was very pleased with the customer service I received. I was having an issue with, quote, warrant for tax unpayment, and the staff, particularly Mark, was very helpful. Although, quote, Mark had a very thick Indian accent, and I could hear a colleague in the background and call him Danish. The warrant that local law enforcement had taken out on me was cleared for $2,000 and not the $100,000 that the U.S. tax agent Mark helped me to understand that I owed. This is what I appreciate. You guys take the time to come up with these subplots for the reviews, and it is much appreciated. And that is why we acknowledge them and read them, because we thank you for the time that you take to do them.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Well, Tuesday night on Night Shift, we talked about the world's deadliest animals and cops' encounters with them. And it couldn't be more timely that a cop recently had an encounter with a feral squirrel. So what's this story all about?
I'm just going to say that this story is nuts.
Why did I laugh at that? Why did I laugh? I shouldn't have laughed at that.
Squirrel.
All right. What do we got? I don't know if there's a delay on my end.
It was a deputy,
I don't
and
see any stories.
You know what's crazy is that this is a deputy from Livingston Parish, which, okay, so here's how the world works. Tuesday we did Deadliest Animal Encounters, where we talked all about animals and cops and death and destruction and everything else that comes with that. On Friday, we talked about our craziest case that we've ever broke down, ever, which was the Dennis Perkins case, who was a deputy for Livingston Parish. Now we have Livingston Parish deputies and a fucking rabid squirrel.
We
all
brought
in
them
one
together.
Story.
Wow.
Full circle, baby. The universe is so small.
It's the way life works. It's a sweet still shot, though. Was that Livingston Parish sheriff's deputy had a close encounter with an angry pet squirrel after he arrested its owner. I wonder if did the owner, you think, train the squirrel to defend him?
No, I think it's just like, I don't know, like you've got all those flashlights and everything going on in a car. And one, did he tell the cops that there was a loose squirrel in his truck? Because I feel like, what if the squirrel got out? Well, the squirrel obviously got out. Is the squirrel trained enough that he just stays around? Is the guy not worried that the squirrel would just take off? It's just a rando
squirrels
squirrel?
at my house that hang out. They come up to the porch and they take peanuts right out of my hand.
But this dude is a trucker. He's traveling like the country.
Yeah, but I'm sure the squirrel is happy to ride along if the guy's got like a bag of nuts in there. Joey Bag of Nuts.
Joey Bag of Nuts. I've pulled a car over once where the guy, as I was searching it, and we were going up underneath the front seat, and he goes, "Oh, hey, by the way, that's where I keep my snake." And I was like, "What?" And I was like, "Why wouldn't you fucking tell me there was a snake in here before?" And he's like, "Oh, well, it's dead. I keep it in a jar. It was a voodoo thing." So, but yeah, sure enough, underneath the front seat was a dead yellow python.
Ugh, that's weird. Dash cam from the incident was released for those that are joining us live, because we do go live on YouTube on the Failure to Stop YouTube channel, which, pause for station identification here, this is the last time we'll be live on Mike the Cop. It'll all be Failure to Stop from here on out. So if you are on the Mike the Cop channel and you like watching the podcast and you want to be notified of it in future broadcasts, you got to go subscribe and hit the notification bell on the Failure to Stop channel. All right. So let's see if we can play this squirrel dash cam video and see what we got here. Other guys, that is such a weak attempt by the partner to actually help. He this was just for the camera. He swipes let me see if I can help. Yeah, I tried, buddy.
I was wrong. This isn't a trucker truck. This is a tow truck, like a heavy duty tow truck. And then what you see is this officer literally leans into the truck for a half a second, and this squirrel runs up his right arm all the way around his back, and then it goes down. He's losing his shit. His partner literally, with a straight stone cold face, takes a half step in and swats the air slowly, not doing anything. This motherfucker is not trying at all. He's just yep, I tried, and I don't know what's going. He literally has that face of I don't know what this rookie's getting into right now, but this is ridiculous. Hurry it up, homeboy. Why is there a squirrel on your back? Hilarious. What a great video.
Yeah, it's stuff right out of a movie. So we had to share that with you guys because it did bring
Livingston.
It brought the world full circle for sure.
Yeah. But our next big story, Black Panther director Ryan Coogler, Mike.
Yeah, isn't this interesting? Tell us all about it, Tansey. What do we got?
Looks like old Coogler was mistaken for a bank robber this week. And he says this situation should have never happened. Yeah, but I think that this is I don't even think it's threefold. I think it's there's two parties here that are at fault. Bank of America and you, Mr. Coogler, because I don't think the cops did anything but their job in this case. Am I wrong?
Right. No, well, the cops didn't do anything wrong.
Nothing.
The cops are,
but he's made it about the cops. He tried to make it about the cops, right? The whole story, the initial headlines of this story were, director of Black Panther mistaken by police as bank robber and unlawfully detained, or you know what I mean? It was all this, the cops were at fault. But then you get down to it, and this asshole walks into a bank with dark sunglasses on, a dark mask on with the COVID mask, walks up, slides a note across the teller table asking for 12 grand discreetly. She's like, fuck this. Oh, by the way, the teller is an African-American female, right? So I don't think this whole race thing has anything to do with that.
Well, I when I first heard of this story, it popped up into my Instagram feed. There's a comedian named, I don't know his full name. His Instagram handle is Kev on Stage. I follow him. He's actually really, really funny. And I enjoy his comedy. And then, but he posts what the bank teller heard versus what Ryan Coogler actually said. So he's doing like a little sketch comedy kind of piece. But the top comment on his thing with 1,323 likes is, I am Steve Jones. I mean, what the hell? Being a black man in America ain't no easy feat. That's the comment. And everyone is like talking in support. And I'm like, what does this have to do with being black? You're in a predominantly black city, Atlanta, going into a bank as a black man who is rich because you're getting $12,000 out. And the bank teller who has a job there is also black. So which part of being black in America in this situation is the struggle here? Which part of this?
That is a good question, Mike. Also, what do you think the number one motive, the number one modus operandi, as they say in the biz, what do you think the number one motive for robbing a bank is? Like, what is the one thing that more bank robbers do than anything else to begin robbing a bank? What do you think they do?
Take hostages?
No, actually, that's a great guess, but that is not right. Nope. A matter of fact, there's only typically in the United States per year, according to the FBI statistics, there's only 70 of those takeovers where they have where they kind of hold everybody hostage.
Yeah.
But the mass majority of bank robberies start out with the demand note used. 973 to be exact. 973 cases in 2020 involved the demand of a note used. Only 200 for firearms, where they just presented a firearm and were like, yo, give me the money. 10 were from other firearms.
Yes.
22 were from other weapons. 973 were simply just the passing of a note. So you have Atlanta, which in 2007, Atlanta had more bank robberies than any other state, any other city in America.
Interesting.
That's a fun fact. So it's not like they don't get a lot of bank robberies in Atlanta.
Right.
So now you've got a dude wearing sunglasses. Why are you wearing sunglasses in a bank, homeboy? Then you're going to pass a note that says, give me $12,000 discreetly. And I don't know how the note was written, but the note consisted of something.
The note's been released. I think
Right.
they showed it. Does it have
And I
it in
read
the
it.
article?
I just don't have it like quoted because I didn't think I'd need to have that quoted. But basically it said, I need $12,000 discreetly, please.
Yeah, he wanted to count it elsewhere.
Oh, here it is. Here's the quote. I would like to withdraw $12,000 cash from my checking account. Please do the money count somewhere else. I'd like to be discreet. So, I mean, if you read, but here's the thing is like, if you got a dude that walks in and he doesn't say anything, he has a mask on, he has sunglasses on.
And sunglasses, yep.
And then he just slides you a note. I bet you she is trained just to tap that old button. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because more times than not.
I want $12,000 discreetly. Now it says like out of his account, right? I mean, it's like a request, but
she might not even have got that far. Like her heart might have stopped at, I need 12,000 discreetly. And she's like, shit, robbed. Boop. I'm going to hit the button.
Here's where I get where this Ryan's coming from, Mr. Coogler here, right? I get that. I wouldn't want people to know in Atlanta that I've got $12,000 cash on me. Right? Like if I'm going to go and it's nobody's business. In my opinion, it's not the bank's business. It's not the government's business. It's not your business where my money is or what I do with my money. And I wouldn't necessarily, I might also want somebody to be discreet and do that. And I get it. Like I want to put some sunglasses on. I don't want people to recognize me. If he's known in the area, right? Atlanta's like, it is a hot spot for a lot of media personalities. And so if he's known in the area, maybe he wants some privacy, that kind of a thing. But why wouldn't you, if you were going to get $12,000, why wouldn't you call the bank ahead of time and be like, hey, I'm going to come in, but I really don't want to be seen. Can you start this withdrawal? And then I come in like in an office in the bank and meet with one of the managers and get it or whatever.
You're a rich celebrity. You rich, as they say. you ever do business without calling the bank first and letting them know that you're coming? I know for my distillery, if I'm putting in like a big giant deposit, I'm calling them first and I'm saying, hey, I'm bringing this in. It's in cash. Bringing it in a blue bag. Do you want me to take it to the office or do you want me to come to the teller line? They always say, when you come in, just go to the office to the right and we'll meet you in there. Like I take care of it because I'm not going to risk my ass standing out, with a blue envelope, right? Because they give you the big blue leather bag, like that just says I have a lot of fucking cash on me. And then when they see the size, humble brag, when they see how bulging that little leather bag is, I'm not going to stand in a line in a bank full of human beings with like, it would be like going into the bear's den with a whole bucket of meat.
Yeah. So I get the discreet part, but they make these things, if you guys don't know, at a bank.
Cell phone. Oh,
it's called a withdrawal slip.
Oh.
Like they actually have a piece of paper that when you go into the bank, you would put your name, your account number, and the amount that you want to withdraw and how you want it. And then you present that to the teller with your identification or your bank card or whatever else. There's actually a process for that that's well established in the entire several hundred-year process of banking in the United States. So when you put sunglasses on, you're wearing a mask, and you slide a handwritten note across for $12,000, I can completely see where a teller in an area known for bank robberies would be like, oh shit, it's happening. It's happening to me.
Yeah.
And like, I better let people know that this is happening. Yeah, you sort of fade out, tunnel vision. You don't read the note, put it in context. You got a guy in a bank telling you he wants his $12,000 discreetly, not on a withdrawal slip, on a handwritten note. Who does that?
I love how the article cuts in and says, ever since renewed Black Lives Matter movement in 2020, following the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis at the hands of police, there has been heightened scrutiny of incidents of racism across a myriad industries. And laser focus on racism in Hollywood. The movement has also emboldened more Black people and people of color in the industry to speak out about their experiences under the blanket of fake racism. This has nothing to do with racism. Nothing. Oh, and by the way, Juicy Smollett, old Juicy Juice.
He's not suicidal, by the way.
Right? Well, he just got sentenced to 150 days in the slammer, joining his little friend Brittney Griner. She's in the Gulag. We'll talk about her in a minute. But again, that was all under the blanket of fake racism. The guy tied a noose around his neck. And I love when he was getting his sentencing, how he just did a little... the little black power fist.
Yes.
As if like he still believes that there's some kind of racism going on. No, homeboy.
He's convinced himself
you
of his
flew
own story.
into Chicago. You got into Chicago at 2 a.m. You walked into your apartment during a massive blizzard or whatever they call it. What do they call that? Like a
blizzard.
Like a winter blast or something. Like you guys call it something weird. Polar apocalypse or whatever.
Don't call it anything.
Polar vortex.
It was a polar vortex. That's what they called it on the news. He goes out to Subway. Bitch, you're rich. Why are you eating at Subway? Like you don't eat at Subway at 2 a.m. when you get off an airplane during a polar vortex. Come on, homie. Anyway, the whole story was garbage from the get-go. He got fined like $125,000 or $130,000. I can't remember what it was yesterday, but again, in these articles love to bring up like this has anything to do with race, which by the way, the teller again, she was a Black female. So I'm not sure what happened, but I like how he also says that they have worked things out with Bank of America and they are ready to move on. Meaning Bank of America paid him, which this is what that sets up. Now I can go in, give you all the indicators that I'm going to rob this bank, but leave you a note that says like, have a nice day, cheerio. But if I act menacing and everything and you assume that I'm robbing a bank, now I'm going to get a payout.
Just make sure that you have the amount that you're asking for discreetly in your account, right? So don't ask for $12,000 if you only got $1,000 in your bank, right? Then they know that you're robbing them. But if you go rob the bank for, let's say, $50, like slide a handwritten note across that says, I demand my $50 discreetly. Don't move fast.
Yeah.
Don't tell any other tellers, right? So what I'm asking for my money, even put your account number on it. And then if they call the police, then you can sue them for $5,000 or get settle out of court for a withdrawal. This is a whole new system that I'm going to manipulate.
I'm about to get rich. I'm about to get Mike the cop rich up in here.
Yeah, baby.
But speaking of celebrities doing stupid shit and winding up in a quandary, we have Brittney Griner,
who I've never heard of until yesterday.
Yeah, she was the number 1 draft pick in the WNBA. She graduated from Baylor.
Again,
she was
you
the
talk
first.
About the WNBA.
I know.
Who knows? Who cares? I don't know.
I get it.
I mean,
but I'm trying to learn you right now and tell you all of her stats.
Yeah, I just don't know who she
you'll
is.
care
Doesn't
more.
matter.
She's a WNBA basketball player. She's 6'9", Mike. That's cool. She's the first.
Whoa, a chick that's 6'9".
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, she's a big girl, and she wears it well though. She wears 6'9" very well. Very athletic. Looks like, you know what I mean? Because a lot of times you could be like 6'9", but maybe kind of clumsy. She's not that. She's actually the first female, this is a fun fact, to be able to consistently dunk, which I have always said.
Well, she's 7 foot tall.
Nobody is going to watch.
Her hand, she's touching the rim.
As far as I know, not a lot of people watch the NBA for people sinking threes from downtown, as they call it. I want to see the dunks. I want to see
that's all I could do.
I want to see the alley oops. I want to see the slam jams. I want to see all the good stuff. I think if you want to make the WNBA relevant, you lower that hoop a little bit. Oh, that's so sexist. Lower the rim. Let me watch these girls dunk and rage on each other. I want to see some dunking. I don't like this, pass it around, until the shot clock starts and then you put the basket in. That's boring as hell, so I don't watch it. But anyway, she makes more money in Russia, so she plays on the off season in Russia. And so she traveled to Russia recently, and she forgot to take out her THC. I don't think she forgot. She had THC cartridges with her for her vape pen. And that is super illegal in Russia. And this was before the Ukraine invasion. But it's super illegal. And so they detained her, and everybody's making a big deal out of it. And I like how they make a big deal about it being a white supremacy thing.
What?
Backed on communism. Yeah, a lot of the articles talk about white nationalists, and that this
gosh,
is another white nationalist a reach at being anti-gay and
Is she gay too?
She is gay. She's openly gay. She's married, which guess what is also illegal
in Russia.
Being openly gay. It's not illegal to be gay. It's illegal to be openly gay. So you can't have public displays of affection.
This is interesting, right? So let me guess that Brittany probably is super pro alphabet soup.
Yep.
Publicly outspoken.
Yes. Took a knee during the whole knee thing. We were all doing.
So she takes a knee for the very country that allows her to have this relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this country is not good enough for her. So she goes and takes money and profits off of a system that oppresses homosexuals and oppresses people that choose to use cannabis. And now she's paying the price. Yeah. This is the price of hypocrisy, I guess. Yeah. You want to go to Russia? You want to go to Russia while you criticize America? Well, have fun. This is exactly what needs to happen to everyone who kneels for the national anthem. They need to go to Russia and go to the Gulag for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
I have a hard time feeling bad. Sorry.
Yeah, and listen, this is not the time to be imprisoned in Russia. But this isn't the first.
Like a cupcake in Putin's hand right now.
But the thing is, though, is that what I'm more worried about and stressed out about this is that I don't think, because here over in the West we think this is outrageous, this is unfair. She's a celebrity. She's the number 1 WNBA basketball player alive, and all she had was THC. Well, I'm sorry.
Literally,
Western America,
Dunkin' Donuts has more value to me.
Go to Saudi Arabia and try this bullshit. It's the same thing that's going to happen. Listen,
exactly.
In 2019 and 2018, 2 Marines were arrested. One was sentenced to 16 years for what he did, which was, I think it was drunk and disorderly. Now, the other one's really fucked. His name is Paul Whelan. It's Paul Whelan and Trevor Reed. I don't know which one was which, but one of them was arrested for essentially drunk and disorderly and resisting police. That landed him a nice 16 years. The other guy, we don't know how long he's going because he got arrested for espionage. So you already know. Yeah. But look, I have a friend, a really good friend.
Out, bro.
And actually, while this was going on in Saudi Arabia, so he got a contracting job for 4-month gig with, I think, like 6 other guys. They had written, he was a SOCOM medic, a special operations combat medic. And they had written a SOCOM course for Arabs and in Saudi Arabia. And so they made like $1 million contract for him and like 6 guys to go to Saudi Arabia for 4 months and deliver this course to these Arabic medics.
Yeah.
And which is a lot of money. So, but at the same time, he and his wife had bought a house in Tennessee and so needed to move from North Carolina to Tennessee. So he's like, look, Tansey, I'm so sorry, dude. You're the only guy I know. You're the only guy I trust. Can you help my wife move to Tennessee while I take this contract? I've got to go. So I said, sure. So we were getting ready and doing all this moving. Well, when they got over there, about 2 months into this process, he and another guy got invited to one of their students. Now they weren't medic students. These were already medics. They were just teaching them how to be special operations combat medics, essentially. And they were actually going to go on and teach other people. So it was basically like teach the teacher type of thing. They get invited to a dinner at their house. The guy breaks out some Heinekens because in Saudi Arabia, they're not doing raids inside. If you're drinking out of sight, then it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. They don't really give a shit, but you cannot be intoxicated in public. Well, they left and my buddy decided, you know what? I'm going to walk home because he's a fitness buff. And he's like, I'm just going to walk back to the post because I want to walk and I like to walk. And the other guy was like, cool, dude, I'm going to go over and take the bus back. Well, there was a checkpoint at the bus and one of the Saudi Arabian police breathalyzed this guy 0.02.
So barely anything.
Barely anything. They imprisoned him for 3 weeks, caned him publicly at the public square, and he is forever banned from Saudi Arabia. Now, Saudi Arabia also falls under Sharia law, which does not allow premarital sex or same sex, period. Same-sex marriage, which, we're all about taking money from Saudi Arabia right now. That's exciting. But my point being is that this has nothing to do with white nationalists. Because are Saudi Arabians, are they persons of color? Is a Muslim a person of color? I don't know. They're not. Are they just considered white?
If we need their oil, no. If we don't need their oil, yes.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. But I don't know. So my point being is that like this isn't some kind of white nationalist thing. It's not like some kind of there are laws in other countries. Look at China. Or look at Korea. When Homeboy went over to Korea and stole the painting off the wall. And they fucking essentially killed him in prison. In whatever sadistic way they did that. But I don't know why we're all shocked about this. I don't see Putin letting her go. That's just my Tanstradamus prediction. I think the charge.
He's got the upper hand right now. This works perfectly to his advantage, right? He can use her as leverage. It's unfortunate timing for her, but that's what happens when you want to live your life like a hypocrite, and then you end up doing something stupid. Like and here's cannabis when you can't do it. It was an inadvertent, fine, but like.
Are you allowed to have THC while being a WNBA player? And that's another thing. It's like, look, I don't care. I'm not against legalizing marijuana. Okay. I'm also not for it. I don't smoke weed, so I just really don't give a shit about it. But a lot of the arguments that people give me is that, it helps my anxieties. It helps one of the most fucked up marriages I've ever experienced or been around. This dude, they both smoked more weed than anybody I ever knew. They had just plethora of problems in this household that I was constantly trying to mediate with them. And, he said, I have to do marijuana. I have to smoke this marijuana because of my anxieties, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, bro, you were literally just trying to throw yourself out into traffic last week. What is the marijuana doing? And they're like, well, it's not an addictive substance. So you're telling me if it's not an addictive substance that you cannot go all the way to Russia and play a game that you love, that you're getting paid fuck tons of money to do. And the only thing is that you can't do over there is bring marijuana. And you can't go without it that long. You had to take it to Russia? I don't understand it. So to me, those arguments kind of go out the window because it kind of looks to me that like maybe it is an addicting substance or else, because I'm telling you right now, I'd give up Tylenol aspirin for a salary like that to play basketball. And I fucking hate basketball. But it's a lot more fun than doing everything else I do in this world.
Yeah, absolutely. Josh Dale in the comments says, I only do legal hemp-derived stuff, Delta-8 and THCO. Yeah, Delta-8 is where it's at, especially in seasons where I might not be able to sleep as good. I usually do like a melatonin mix, and it does all right, but Delta-8 will get the job done for sure if I need to sleep. So I'm with you there. But yeah, I mean, it's stupid. And this whole notion of these people, name it, whether it's we've been talking about it, the alphabet soup, the race issue, all of that stuff. I can't get over how blind they are to the fact that they're only able to be open about this stuff in the very country that they're despising, and then they want to tout the goodness of these other countries that are locking them up for the very behaviors that they do here freely. It's just mind-blowing to me how stupid these people are.
Yeah, I mean,
it's unbelievable how dumb they are.
One of the quotes from what's his name, Blinken, Anthony Blinken. He's the one that was kind of going all in on this article, and he says that if we want her out of jail, Russia is going to have some terms. Former U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Russia and Ukraine, Evelyn Farkas, told Yahoo Sports, it could be a prisoner swap. They also could use it as an implicit threat or blackmail to get us to do something or not to do something. Either way, they find it useful. And here's where this is where I was saying, I don't think that this is using something as leverage. This is the law. You went over there and you broke the law, and now you're going to suffer the consequences, and it doesn't really help that. So like this whole thing is like they're just doing it to use it as leverage. No, it was that she got stopped by a drug dog, and she had THC cartridges, which are illegal in that country.
Yeah.
There's no leverage here. There's no like, oh, we did this just because. No,
sure, but
you
now they
broke
can
the
use
fucking
it as
rule.
that.
Now they can, but I think she's going to get jail time regardless. Because I don't think Russia fucks around.
I don't know if they have any basketball yards in the Gulag. We'll see.
Yeah,
good for her. All right, what's next on the news agenda?
Well, I don't know if you wanted to hit up on the Philadelphia police officers that are getting fired. And again, this story didn't make like the craziest of national news, or did it? Or did I just miss it? But
it didn't make national news that I saw,
and that's because he's white. That's because it's a white child.
CNN.
It's a 12-year-old. It's a 12-year-old white kid, so nobody gives a fuck. But I according to the state, and we're going to break this down next week. It's going to be our case breakdown, and we're going to call. We're going to talk to some Philadelphia police officers in the meantime, and pull out all the details for this. But as far as the news goes, here's what the chief says. The chief says, last night, a young child with a gun in their hand purposely fired a weapon at our officers, and by miracle, none of the officers suffered life-threatening injuries. However, the life of a young man was cut tragically short, and we should all be questioning how we as a society ... I mean, I could keep going. So that was her initial take. Now she's saying that because these officers broke policy, they are now going to be fired for the shooting.
What policy did they break?
And I don't know. They were in a covert car. So it was an unmarked car. And I don't believe that. I think they were, and again, we're going to break this down Friday. So if I get the facts wrong now, I'll get them right on next Friday. But they were, they're not uniform. They were undercover officers as well. But they initiated all of their blue lights, and they went to approach a 17-year-old male who I believe was a black male, and then the 12-year-old male who was a white male, and his name is, I forgot his name. What is his name, Mike? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't have any access to
something Stilton
stuff right now.
We'll talk about it next Friday. That's why I wasn't paying.
But we're gonna
we
mentioned
anyway,
this, but we're gonna do a more detailed breakdown of this exact case next Friday, along with a few others similar, like the Tamir Rice story from the past, and other like officer involved shootings of younger juveniles. But
yeah, this one, his name was Thomas.
Don't shoot at the cops.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't shoot at the cops, and the cops are very likely to not decide to get out of their unmarked car and shoot at you. Like, yeah, and there's more to this guy's criminal background. This kid is not waiting for the ice cream truck with the change that he got from his grandma to go get a little cone, a little rainbow sherbet or something like that from the ice cream man in the cover of darkness. This is not what the news wants to portray. And firing cops for returning fire from getting shot at is a really bad precedent.
Yeah, and I mean, when you're talking like
silly.
this late at night, when you're talking about the totality of circumstances, this was late at night, and he's with a 17-year-old, it's really hard to tell how old somebody is, especially if they're hanging out. And frankly, I don't give a shit how old somebody is. If you're shooting at me, I'm shooting back. I just sent a picture over to you, Elijah. I don't know if you can and post it up in StreamYard or not up on the YouTubes. But, I mean, it's a picture of Thomas all ganged out, right? White kid, all gang membered out, thugged out. And he's showing his piece in his thing, flicking a camera off, standing next to another, I assume is the 17-year-old. Again, like I said, we'll break this all down next week. But you know what? It didn't really get national news. Not a lot of people gave a fuck about this. And when I saw it and I put it in our show notes, Mike, I put it in like right when it happened, which was, I think it was the 1st of March. And I was waiting for it to kick off and it never kicked off. And I revisited it and I was like, well, there was that shooting in March 1st. What happened with that? Or was the kid just so guilty that everybody was like, well, fuck it. We're not going to burn the place down. And then I saw that he was shot in the back and that they're firing the officers. And then I dig into it more and then I see it's a white kid and it all just it all hit me like nobody cares. It's just a white kid because it doesn't, there's no narrative there. There's no agenda, right? Like if it's just a white kid that gets shot by police, we don't really care because it's never really been about that. That's never been the agenda. So.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. So tune in next Friday's show for sure on a more detailed breakdown of that case and we are definitely going to talk to some Philly cops and get some inside scoop on this. And we'll talk about the whole concept of police shootings and younger kids. Now he's on the screen right now there. My son. Yeah. Wow. I feel bad that if this kid grew up in an environment where he thought this was the way to live, that's unfortunate, but still you can't shoot at other human beings and not
look at his ankle
shot.
bracelet. You see his little ankle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
my gosh.
Jesus.
Oh boy. Well,
so
we'll come back to that one, guys. What else do we have? Pain at the pumps for police everywhere, right?
Pain at the pumps, man. I just filled up for $100 yesterday.
Dude, I'm definitely being very conscious about how far I'm driving and how often I'm driving. Greg Fries from the editor-director at Police One says, pain at the pump, another crisis for public safety as fuel prices skyrocket. Look for ways to reduce control fuel costs now, prepare for the long term, and address employee morale. These fuel costs, like, you don't think that police departments, I mean, that's a great sub-headline that says money has to come from somewhere. I mean, I agree. Like, police departments don't have unlimited resources. I mean, this comes from your local property taxes, and that's how it's funded. And so when gas prices soar like out of control unexpectedly, the budget doesn't change. Well,
they take away ammo. From? I mean, I know the first thing that a lot of these departments will do is take away ammo for shooting practice.
Training budget.
So instead of shooting 300 rounds a year, you're now going to shoot 150 rounds a year per person. And then that extra money is going to go to gas, which, I mean, as a citizen, I want my cops to shoot more because if they do have to squeeze that trigger, I want them to hit what they're trying to shoot and not everybody else.
Yeah. Or the guys will go, dude, overpaid producer said, what about all those car wash fundraisers? Yes. I was actually thinking about cops in really short shorts, polyester shorts, just like those guys with the gator in Florida, like even shorter though, like Daisy Duke, patrol uniforms, all dudes, and doing car washes to fuel their patrol cars. That's a brilliant idea. But the interesting thing about that is you'll have good cops saying, hey, chief, they'll submit a training request. Can I go to this special crisis negotiation training? Can I go to de-escalation training? Can I go to domestic violence response training? Can I go to a better defensive tactics course to help us reduce injuries to our suspects in violent encounters? Nope, because all of that money has to fuel the patrol cars to get to the calls that people are already making. And so I'll say this: votes have consequences, you idiots. So, and I say that to the idiots that thought, oh, we need a change, so I'm going to just vote for this Alzheimer patient. And I'm very all politicians suck, right? Like we're the GOP and the DNC. If you want to know my opinion, I posted a meme where there's two dudes hugging at a urinal, peeing in the same one. That's the GOP and the DNC. That's Congress in an image, and the United States people, we the people, are the urinal, right? They're just pissing on us, and we allow it to happen because we're just happy in our comfort. But that has consequences. So now we're stuck paying for gas instead of actually improving our policing.
Yeah, and
well,
you're
welcome, America.
Another big thing with this is going to be they're going to make cops double up. And there are case studies that show that when cops double up, they're more likely to fuck around, do dumber shit, which is why a lot of departments don't allow two officers. I think that's foolish. I mean, I think you're hiring people as adults. I think you just make it clear that no shenanigans when you have two dudes in a car.
You just have a standard. And I was like that where I worked. We would a lot of the bosses didn't want us to double up, and we were like, so you had to produce. You had to be. Right. We called them heavy cars with the two people in them. But if you wanted to be a heavy car, which I did, I always wanted to have a partner with me. I just think it's smarter policing, and we had to justify. So we had to hump the calls. We had to get our arrests. We were out there getting the job done, but it was so much funner to do it with somebody than trying to just be by yourself trying to do it, and having an extra pair of eyes is just a safer way to go. But yeah, good luck trying to figure out defunding the police while gas prices rise.
And then, when you have these cops that are going to be doubling up, that's less calls that can be answered because both cops have to go to, the same car wreck. They don't get to split up and one takes the car wreck and the other one. So now you're in a car accident, and you're like, well, why is it taking so long for the police to get here to, to do this wreck report? Well, because you know why? One, you defunded them and like you're down like 50% in some of these agencies. Cops have quit. Now they're having to double up because of gas prices, because the city can't afford to do that. And I remember coming on the department in 2012 and gas being a really big issue. We switched over to the little 4-cylinder, the Explorers, but you couldn't just
pursue if you wanted to.
Yeah, right. So
we have to terminate because why? The boss didn't tell you to terminate. Yeah, I just couldn't go fast enough.
So somebody, James Milanese, sorry if I butchered your name.
Milanese. James Milanese.
Wait for prices to go even higher. Biden knows hitting Russia's pipeline is going to hurt them and us because he already used us as the test subjects with the Keystone pipeline. Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, thanks for the super chat, brother.
It's crazy. When you wouldn't think a lot of people don't really think beyond themselves, right? So you see the pain at the pumps for you, but transcend that into public safety. They have to pay for gas too. So it affects every city and their ability to conduct all sorts of services. It's nuts. Imagine the ambulance fuel, right? Running for medical costs and stuff like that, even just beyond cops. I mean, that they run in a lot of places like next to nonstop. I mean, you're fueling that rig with diesel usually, which is even more expensive than regular fuel right now. Yeah. It's crazy. So, man, God bless everyone trying to kind of figure out their budgets and still
today on my way
level of public safety.
In my way in, like yesterday. So I've been laughing at all the gas memes and enjoying all of the posts on social media. And of course the news, like every story they purposefully are picking pumps that have like the Joe Biden, like putting his finger out. Cause that's what the media does. They try to incite you to feel some type of way, whether you're for Biden or against Biden. They want you to be upset and angry. It's just whatever. But, yesterday I went and got coffee and then I went to the gas pump and filled up. And when I saw it was $100, I was like, son of a bitch. It's not funny anymore because that's a lot of money. And then, of course, I paid $60 more for limes than I did 5 weeks ago. And then I also paid $62 more for cups than I did 5 weeks ago because I buy these things in big bulk. And So what's funny is that this summer limes were $30 for a box. Then it jumped up to $60 for a box. I paid $115 for a box that day. So today I was going to go get coffee from, every Friday it's kind of like my thing. I go to the local coffee shop. I grab the coffee. I grab a yogurt. I come here. And I do
great
the show.
coffee at that place too. If it's the place that took me.
Yeah, it's the same place. But I made myself hot tea today and forwent the yogurt because I've got to start cutting out costs on shit to cover for the gas and for groceries. So the small businesses are going to suffer.
For example, at my office, right? Like at my house, it's gone up too. But I have a little bit more control at my house. But at the office, last year, my heat and energy bill was about $385 in a month at the office. And this year, the last bill was $601. So it's not quite doubled. But I mean, how is the average person going to be able to sustain? The majority of America lives paycheck to paycheck, the majority. And so when you double people's fuel and energy costs in the span of just a couple of months, it's going to, well, what it does is it enslaves them. And man, I feel bad for the departments that will now get a bad rap from their community because they don't have enough people on the road getting there fast enough because they're limiting miles on the cars because they literally will run out of gas that they can afford to buy to get the patrol cars places. So they have to be wise with how they're using it.
I think it's already starting to happen. Like I think in the last 2 weeks, people are really starting to see. But I find it odd that we go from this massive. We go through when Trump was in office, right? The world seemed like it was peaceful. Like I felt like there wasn't really a lot of shit going on. I felt like I had a really good 4 years. There was no real war going on. There weren't mass casualties in Afghanistan and Iraq and all these things. And then right coming up on the elections, everything just started hitting the fan and it has not stopped. It hasn't stopped, man. You've had this crazy investigations going on. Then we've got this COVID shit going on. Then we got the vaccination shit going on. Then we got the Canadian trucker thing going on. Now we got this whole Ukraine thing going on. It's like gas prices are now going through the roof. Inflation is going through the roof. And I'm like, man, who is destroying the world right now? Somebody's hit the fucking nuke button on the world. The
guy in charge of Dr. Evil is the guy in charge of the World Economic Forum, the one that's pushing for the Great Reset. I told you they want to enslave the people. The political elite want to take it to the next level, I feel like it's now or never in this country anyway. It's now or never. If we don't stand up and make some different decisions and start acting locally, because we can't just affect the change per se at the global level when we're two guys on the internet right now. We're not affecting that kind of change. We don't have that kind of sway, but what we can do is affect it locally, right? We can make simple decisions about what's in front of us. The more people, I think, that look around them and go, what's within our control to battle this right here within arm's reach? Let's do it right here, right now. And we say no to everything else outside of that. No. When the government comes knocking and says, you got to do this, we say, no, we're not doing that. That's not what's happening. That's what Florida's doing. They started and they continue to expand their state rights, or I should say, assert their state rights by constitutional amendment, and say, no, we're not doing that. We're a sovereign state, and you can take it or leave it. And it works when they do it.
Yeah, but right now, I think the big thing is everybody just got to stop looking at mainstream media. Period. I mean, the news this morning was so divisive, man. It was just so bad. I love I find a lot of my news, and these people are they're Democrats, they're liberals, but I love the way that they bring the news, and it's called breaking points, and they give the news just super straight without emotion. And I think they do a really good job of vetting what's real and what's not. And they also tell you the totality of the circumstances. They don't just give you a 10-second clip. So, but if you watch the regular news, mainstream news, they'll take a clip of whatever this commissioner or this councilman, state senator, I don't know what he was, but he called the Ukrainian president a thug, but they just leave it at that. So you don't have any context on why he called him a thug. And again, and that's what we're doing is we listen to the mainstream media and we allow the mainstream media to just kind of choose how we feel about other people. Who do we hate and who do we love? Oh, let me turn on the news and find out who I'm supposed to be mad at. And I think that's really funny is that there's these people that you've never even heard of, that people have never have talked about in the past. And one news article, everybody hates them like they've known them forever and think that they're just the most worst human being on the planet.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And the sooner people realize that what politicians, this includes both of the mainline parties and the media, they want it to be us versus us. They want to divide us because if they can perpetuate that, that's to their advantage. It's us versus them. They are the problem.
Right.
The people that we have given lifelong establishment power to, they are the problem. They come in never having worked a real job, and they become multi-millionaires by being politicians. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. That's not the design. That's the way that they've manipulated it. We have to say no, because what that does is that trickles down. We have ad nauseum talked about on the show how politics affects policing, good, bad, or indifferent. The way that politics goes has an impact on policing. And so the longer we allow this to go on, the longer that we're just going to perpetuate this so-called divide between policing and their communities. It's insane, and it's sad to see, and we have to fight it, but you can only fight it with what's in your control at the time and expand your territory. You have to act locally.
Right. Well,
man,
it's going to be interesting to see what goes on this week, man. I think that Putin is getting desperate. So that we've got that shit show going on. Gas prices, they say could go as high as $7. I think it's already at 7.
It's already hit that in California.
In California, but I mean, they're saying other places. I mean, where does the insanity stop? I don't know. But we've got a lot of shows lined up this week. 4 shows a week now, which is all because of you, Wolfpack, man. You guys asked for us to do more shows. You asked for us to do more content. Mike and I decided we would do it, and if the numbers were good, we would keep doing it, and our numbers have never been better, and I'm still blown away at the opportunity that we have to be able to sit here as 2 guys, and we're only going to get better because now that we're doing this 4 days a week, our heads are buried in the news, and we're actually becoming real podcasters.
Maybe. Speaking of the podcast, do we have a sponsor that we need to recognize today before we sign off?
We absolutely do. We wouldn't be able to be here if it wasn't for GhostBed. And we absolutely love GhostBed. I've been going really hard on the GhostBed ads on Instagram. So head over to Instagram. If you're not following us on Failure to Stop Instagram or Facebook, hit that old follow button. And then when you flip through our stories, if you wanted to make it easy, I always put a link in there right to the promo code page of GhostBed. But GhostBed has been a loyal sponsors of the Drinking Bros for the last 5 years. Everybody raves about them. They have super comfortable mattresses that last forever, and they're made in the good old USA. Damn it, Mike. Every mattress has a 20-year warranty. Some even have 25. You can try it out for 101 nights. Not 98, not 99, not 100. But 101. If you don't like it, you can send it back. No hard feelings. One of our favorite parts about GhostBed is that each mattress has that cooling technology so you can stay cool while staying hard, baby. Because here in North Carolina, it's starting to warm up. You're in Texas. It's getting real warm, but you missed that cooling technology. Probably don't have that on your whatever little hotel bed.
Whatever hotel mattress I had last night did not compare to my GhostBed. I did not sleep well. I'm like, man, I need the GhostBed. Need it now. It's become an addiction.
And right now, GhostBed is offering bundles so you can get everything you need. You don't even have to really think about it. Just choose from their 4 mattresses and pick your bundle. Whether you just need a mattress and a frame or you want it all, I want it all. I want it all. And I want it now. Give Give it to me, baby. Like their cooling pillows and their sheets, you can get the best bang for your buck. Right now, Ghostbed is offering 40% off of Ghostbed bundles. It's a sale that never ends. Yes, it goes on and on, my friend. Get that mattress in adjustable base, or you can get 30% off of everything if you just use that code DrinkinBros. Ghostbed.com/DrinkinBros. $35 a month, 0 down, 0% financing. That's if you have firefighter credit. Check out Ghostbed.com/DrinkinBros and get you a sleep so good that it's scary.
Indeed.
It's the best ad read in the biz.
You know it. You know it, baby. Well,
Best
thank you
ad
guys
read.
so much for tuning in to the Failure to Stop podcast. And man, if you are not caught up, plenty of pleasure for your ear holes await you. Just go right to wherever you listen to podcasts and catch on up before Monday and the whole new week begins. All right.
Yeah, it's in a banger of a week, man, because we started out last Friday with our biggest case. It's actually our number one show right now that we've ever done. It's the Dennis Perkins breakdown. That was fire. Your Monday, Mike on the Monday, crushed. Then we had the night shift dangerous animal encounters, which we had so many people in the chat. Our Discord's blowing up. Everything's really going in the right direction, man. And it's starting to become, this podcast is becoming a lot of fun. So thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Giddy up.
Till
Thumbs
next
up,
time.
giddy up. Till next time.